Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna finally do that Megadeth discography ranking. So, the reason why this took so long is because originally I had this audio recording that I was going to make the video out of, but I just didn't like it that much. And then I was gonna redo it, but I didn't have the time to, and now I finally have the time to redo it, so that's why I'm doing it today. And also, I want to change the way I'm doing these discography rankings. So, I'm kind of tired of editing the whole thing like how I've been doing. So eventually I do want to start like actually physically showing myself and then holding up the album that way, or just showing a picture of it on screen while I talk about it, because it'd just be way easier to edit it, and it wouldn't take as long. Because when I do these videos, it takes me like 3 hours to edit the whole thing, and it'd be so much easier just to go through and just either throw it up on screen or just hold up the physical album. So if you fellas would like it in that style, let me know, and, well, I'd gladly do it, because, you know, it beats editing a 3-hour thing, so you definitely won't get an argument out of me out of that, which I do enjoy editing, but it would be nice to have something that didn't take so long to edit. But anyways, let's get on to the Megadeth discography ranking. 16 albums, here we go. Okay, so coming in at number 16, Super Collider. It's my least favorite Megadeth album. I don't think it's horrible like some people do, but it's definitely their weakest album. You know, Kingmaker, Super Collider, Off the Edge, Dance in the Rain, The Blackest Crow, Cold Sweat. Not the worst album ever made. It's got Dave Mustaine, David Ellefson, Chris on guitars, and Sean on drums, but it's definitely their weakest album compared to everything they've ever done. I think this could be stronger, and it's got some kind of weak tracks on it. You know, just not my favorite Megadeth album. It's my least favorite one out of the bunch. And so is number 15, The World Needs a Hero. I've never been a big fan of this album. I know some people love this album. I don't. I just think this is kind of generic sounding. It sounds like a Megadeth's version of the Lulu album by Metallica and Lou Reed, in my opinion, because Dave Mustaine's not even singing on it. He's just talking in some of the songs. Of course, the one big exception to that is Promises. The only reason why this ranks higher than Super Collider is because of Promises. But, you know, Motorcycle is a pretty cool song. The title track's alright. Oh yeah, and Return to Hangar, that's not a bad song either. But I just think the rest of this is just, ugh. I don't like it at all. And Dread and the Fugitive Mind's not horrible, but it's just, ooh, not a good album if you ask me as a whole. I do love Promises though. Promises is a top 10 Megadeth song for me, but the rest, you can just forget about the rest. Of course, The World Needs a Hero has the lineup of Dave Mustaine on guitar, David Ellefson, Jimmy on drums, and Al, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name because I don't know how to say it, but on guitar and backing vocals. Now, coming in at number 14, Risk. I don't hate Risk. I actually think Risk is a really good album. It's just, when you stack it up to everything else, I don't think it's better than anything else above this, I should say. Insomnia, by the way, I should have addressed this at the very beginning. Whenever I'm bringing these albums up, I mean like the classic albums from the 80s to 90s. I'm talking about the original mix, not the remaster. I'm not talking about the remastered sound. I'm talking about like the original sound. So for Risk, I'm talking about the original one, not the remix. So the original Risk without the remix, which I think the remix is awful, but the original mix of Risk, this is at number 14, and I think this is a really good album. I just think, compared to everything else, doesn't compete, but, well, except for the last two I just mentioned, but everything else doesn't compete to it, but I still enjoy this album. You got Insomnia, Prince of Darkness, Enter the Arena, Crush 'Em, Breadline's a really good song. The Doctor is Calling, I'll Be There, Wanderlust, Ecstasy, 7, Time the Beginning, Time the End. Good album. It's just, like I said, doesn't compete to anything else. This album has the lineup of Dave Mustaine, David Ellefson, Marty Friedman, and Jimmy on drums, but I don't think it deserves nearly the amount of hate it gets. Now this one I'm going to get some hate for. So number 13, Countdown to Extinction. I know some people out there would rank this as maybe the number 1, the number 2, the number 3. I just honestly don't think that this is my favorite Megadeth, one of my absolute favorite Megadeth albums, top to bottom. I just don't. I think it's got some great songs on it, but I can't honestly say that I prefer this track listing over the next ones, the next albums I'm going to rank. I just can't see myself saying that. I love the songs off of it, though, don't get me wrong, except Symphony of Destruction and Sweating Bullets. Ugh, those are some awful songs. I can't stand those songs. If you love them, that's great. I'm glad you enjoy them, but I hate them. I think you take a mortal man. I think that, ooh. And hello me, meet the real me. You really like that? You really like that? But I sure don't. But if you like it, that's great. I like those songs like on ironic level. I don't unironically like them. I like how I stuttered there. I ironically like them in an ironic way, not unironically like them. Yeah, they're so bad that they're actually good, but I don't think they're the best Megadeth songs ever made. So it's not a horrible album, like I said. I just think from now on, like number 14 and onwards, I love these albums. And I don't dislike Countdown to Extinction, but in my opinion, I just think Megadeth has better track listings than this one. But of course, you've got some classics like Skin on My Teeth, the songs I mentioned like Sweating Bullets and Symphony Destruction, but don't talk to me about those songs. Agriculture of Aggression, For Closure of a Dream, This Was My Life, the title track, which I absolutely love. High Speed Dirt, Psychotron, super underrated, but I love it. Captive Honor, also love it. Ashes in Your Mouth, and Crown of Worms, which I think is a bonus track, if I'm not mistaken. That actually might be on the original album, but I think that's a bonus track. And of course, this album has the classic Megadeth lineup of Dave Mustaine, David Ellefson, Marty Friedman, and Nick Menza, the late Nick Menza on drums, which I think, fantastic lineup. Not sure if it's my favorite lineup of Megadeth. It might be. Is it? Let me think about that. Yeah, I would say it's my favorite lineup of Megadeth. Okay, so coming in at number 12, In Game. I love this album. Super underrated. Nobody talks about it. But you got some really good songs on here. Dialectic Chaos, This Day We Fight, 44 Minutes, which is really good. 1320. Bite the Hand, Bodies, Not by Drowning Pool, In Game, the title track, The Hardest Part of Letting Go, Head Crusher, How the Story Ends, The Right to Go Insane. Really good album, doesn't get nearly enough credit as it deserves. And of course, I'm not really diving into the sound of these albums because they mostly all sound the same. There's some elements of groove metal in some 2000s Megadeth albums, but for the most part, Megadeth is very consistent in their sound, I think, anyway. And there's not really much to talk about on their sound because it mostly stays the same. It's kind of like doing a ranking of Motorhead. You're not going to spend much time talking about the sound because it's basically the same throughout. So I'm mostly just going to be talking about the songs on these and the lineups, which is what most people would probably talk about if they did a Megadeth discography ranking. And I also have not been giving my favorites off the albums. I know I kind of like hinted at some. So I'd say for Super Collider, my favorite's the title track. For The World Needs a Hero, I would say it's Promises. For Risk, I would say it's Breadline. And Countdown to Extinction, the title track. And for this one, it would be 44 Minutes. I enjoy that song a lot. And this album has the lineup of Dave Mustaine, Chris on guitars, James on bass, and Sean on drums. That's In Game. Coming at number 11 now, Dystopia. People love this album. You can find people all the time talking about how amazing this album is. I think it's amazing too. You got The Threat Is Real, title track, Fatal Illusion, Death From Within, Bullet to the Brain, Post-American World, Poisonous Shadows, Look Who's Talking. I think that's a bonus track, I think. Conquer or Die, Lying in State, The Emperor, Last Dying Wish, that's also a bonus track, and Foreign Policy. So as previously mentioned, amazing album. It even got the band a Grammy if you care about that sort of thing. I personally don't, but if you do, then there you go. Has the lineup of Dave Mustaine, David Ellefson, Kiko, and Chris on drums. So that's Dystopia. Coming in number 10, The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead. I remember when this album first came out, I was so excited to hear it because those singles had me hyped up. I listened to it and I loved every single second of it. Too many tracks to list here because there is 14 on it. But I'm going to give you my absolute favorites off this one. So you got the title track, love it. Life in Hell's really good. Night Stalkers, Dogs of Chernobyl, Killing Time, Soldier On, Mission to Mars, We'll Be Back. Just an amazing, phenomenal, spectacular album. I still love this album to this day. Even though it's not that old. It's only like 2 years old. What's going on 2 years? But I love it. It blows 72 Seasons out of the water by Metallica, in my opinion. But we won't get into that because I know that's a really touchy subject for some people. But yeah, I love this album. I also love that cover art too. Of course, that's with the lineup of Dave Mustaine, Kiko, Dirk, and Steve. David Ellefson did not make the album, which we won't even get into that mess. But yeah, there's a lot of controversy around that if you think back to that time period. But we won't get into that here. Now coming in here at number 9, 13. This is a very underrated album. Doesn't really get the credit it deserves. It's got some great songs on it. One of my favorites is Whose Life Is It Anyways, which I know I'm not giving my favorites off these. I keep forgetting to do that. So, off of The Sick, The Dying, The Dead, I'd say my favorite is probably Soldier On. From Dystopia, I would say The Emperor for Endgame. Oh yeah, I did give Endgame as my favorite track. It was 44 minutes. So, sorry, I'm not giving my favorites. I keep forgetting. But for 13, my favorite's definitely Whose Life Is It Anyways. I love that song. Also, Guns, Drugs, and Money, which is every rap song ever made. Never Dead, New World Order, which they've redone I don't know how many times. Black Swan, Wrecker, Millennium of the Blind, Deadly. I love this album. I almost said just an amazing album, but I've been saying that about all these. But they're all really, really good, except for the first two. But you might even like those. Who knows? But I just love all these albums. I have a really big connection to a lot of these. And 13's no exception. That's with the lineup of Dave Mustaine, David Ellefson, Chris, and Sean on drums. So 13, very underrated. Definitely check it out if you never heard it. Okay. Now at number 8, The System Has Failed. This is originally going to be a Dave Mustaine solo album, if I remember correctly. But it wasn't. It's a Megadeth album. And some people consider Megadeth a Dave Mustaine solo project, and I don't really blame if you think that. He's pretty much the only consistent member in the band. Great songs on here. Blackmail the Universe, Die Dead Enough, Kick the Chair, The Scorpion, my absolute favorite. I Know Jack, Back in the Day, Truth Be Told, Of Mice and Men, Shadow of Death, My Kingdom. Great songs all around. This is one of my absolute favorites by Megadeth. And it really doesn't get the credit it deserves. I think it deserves a lot more credit. That's with the lineup of Dave Mustaine, Chris Poland, Jimmy, and Vinny. Jimmy and Vinny. But yeah, that's The System Has Failed. Now, number 7's a real underrated album by Megadeth. It's definitely my favorite 2000s Megadeth album. And that's United Abominations. I love this album. It's super underrated. Got some more groove metal on it than thrash metal, but that never stopped me from loving it. Sleepwalker, Washington is Next. Never Walk Alone, A Call to Arms, my absolute favorite off that album. I love that song. The title track, Gears of War, Blessed Be the Dead, Play for Blood, another version of A Tuta Limon, Americanistan, I hope I'm saying that right, You're Dead, Burnt Ice, and the Japanese bonus track, Out on the Tiles. Whew! An amazing album right there. That one's phenomenal, which they all are amazing from this point forward. I don't know why I keep saying amazing like that. I'm just throwing it around. I'm making it lose its value. But I love that album. If you check out any 2000s Megadeth album, make sure it's that one, in my opinion. And that album has the lineup of Dave Mustaine, Glenn, James, and Sean. Now, coming in at number 6, this one's more alternative than thrash, but I still love it. Cryptic Writings. Trust, my absolute favorite off this album. Almost Human, Use the Man, Mastermind, The Disintegrators. I think I said that right. I'll Get Even, Sin, A Secret Place, Have Cool, Will Travel, She-Wolf, Vortex, and Fight for Freedom, FFF, which I love that song too. Fight for freedom. I don't know what that was. I'm sorry. Could tell I'm a Megadeth fanboy. He probably can. And, of course, Cryptic Writings is that classic Megadeth lineup. I probably should not say that, because somebody else probably has their favorite classic Megadeth lineup or whatever. This has the lineup of the 2 Days, Marty, and Nick. Really good album. Now, coming at number 5, Killing Is My Business, and Business Is Good, which I didn't realize was a Punisher reference for a long period of time. But yeah, apparently Dave Mustaine's a huge fan of the Punisher, the Marvel Comics character. Don't blame him for that, the Punisher's really cool. But anyways, Last Rites, Love to Death, definitely my favorite off the album. Rattlehead, Looking Down the Cross, Mechanics, These Boots. I've left out a bunch of those other songs, but I love every single song off this album. Really good. I don't know if I'd say this is better than Kill 'Em All in my opinion. I know some people might disagree with that, but I really do enjoy this album. Very thrashy, thrashing all around. Throwing a Metallica reference in there. But, oh, I love this album. Of course, I love the Mechanics because that was the original version of the Four Horsemen, which is my favorite Metallica song. But ironically, the Mechanics, it doesn't even make my top 10 Megadeth songs. It almost did. It sits at number 11, but I really do love the Mechanics too. I love both those songs, which I think the Four Horsemen's cooler lyrically, because the mechanics is just about Dave Mustaine making love using car references. But yeah, that's what that song's about. Of course, this album has a lineup of Dave, David, Chris, and Gar. Alright, so coming in number 4, So Far So Good So What, with Dave Mustaine, David Elfson, Jeff Young, and Chuck Beeler. I hope I said his last name right. I'm horrible at pronouncing names. That's why I don't even bother with the last names. If I don't know how to pronounce it, I'm not gonna butcher their last name. But this one's got Now this one has 8 songs that are amazing, phenomenal. I need to read a dictionary so I have like other adjectives to describe that besides just amazing and phenomenal, because I'm running out of words. These 8 thrash-tastic songs, there you go. Into the Lungs of Hell, Set the World Afire, Anarchy in the UK cover song, Mary Jane, 502, In My Darkest Hour, my favorite off the album, or Liar. I really do enjoy Liar. Hook and Mouth too. 8 classic songs, can't go wrong with any of them. So that's So Far So Good So What, and fun fact of the day, that is Joey Jordison's of Slipknot's favorite Megadeth album. Fun fact of the day. Coming in number 3, Peace Sells But Who's Buying? People love Peace Sells, and so do I. Wake Up Dead, The Conjuring, Peace Sells, Devil's Island, Good Morning Black Friday, Bad Omen, I Ain't Superstition, and My Last Words. Love every single song off this album, and my favorite is probably The Conjuring. Of course it changes every week, but today it's The Conjuring. This album's got Dave Mustaine, David Elfson, Chris Pullen, and Gar Samuelson on drums. Phenomenal album. What can I say? Thrash-tastic, as I said earlier about the other one. This one's thrash-tastic too. And so is number 2, Rust in Peace. I don't even have to give you adjectives to describe this one. This is a thrash metal classic, and love it. Love every single song off of it. I'm sure you all know the songs very well. I'm not even going to name them. But Lucretia is definitely my favorite off this album, which I hope I'm saying that right, because I'm horrible at pronouncing words, but yeah, hopefully I said that right. This has the lineup of Dave Mustaine, David Elfson, Marty Friedman, and Nick Menza. I'm just going to refer to it as the classic Megadeth lineup, because I know that's what most people can think of. When they think about Megadeth, they think about that lineup. So that's why I call it the classic one. And that classic lineup also made Euthanasia, which is my favorite album by Megadeth. I've talked about this album a lot on the channel, and yeah, there's nothing more I can say to add to it, but if you've never heard the album, I definitely recommend giving it a chance. It's not really thrash metal, it's more groove metal, but I love this album. To this day, I still can listen to it. I sing along to all these songs. You play any of these songs, I would definitely sing along, especially Addicted to Chaos, which is my favorite off the album. But, oh, and Family Tree, too. Yeah, those lyrics are really disturbing, but I can't help but sing along to that song with the "Let me show you how I love you. It's our secret, you and me." I love that song. Which what do you fellas think about my Dave Mustaine impression? I think it's pretty good. And it's also how I sing Metallica songs. I never do cover versions of them. I always do my Dave Mustaine impression, because it actually does really fit with the thrash Metallica songs. I'm not sure if, well, that doesn't exist except in AI covers, but if you ever got Dave Mustaine to sing Metallica, it would sound really cool. Which I love Dave Mustaine's vocals. I probably should address that at the beginning of the video, but I love Dave Mustaine's vocals. To me, he's one of my top 10 favorite vocalists, and he's definitely inspired me as a singer. Which you fellas can hear me sing in the future. I'm working on demos right now. Shameless plug. But yeah. It's not thrash metal. It's more, the songs I'm doing right now are like rock and pop rock, so they might not be your favorite thing in the world, but I enjoy them. But anyways, enough self-promotion. There you go, everyone. That's my Megadeth discography ranking. I'm so sorry this took like 100 years. But I'm really thankful and happy for all the people watching these videos. I really do appreciate all the love and support you fellas give. And I'll definitely make sure to make discography rankings more consistently, because I know I've kind of not been doing that at all. And the next discography ranking I'll be doing is probably going to be Aussie. I'm going to hold off on doing the rainbow one from now, because I'm going to buy all the CDs soon. I'll do that in the future. It won't be too long. It'll probably be out by this year. I hope it's out by this year. If it's in 2025, I apologize. But yeah, it should be out this year. And so should my Aussie discography ranking. And there was another one too I was going to do, and I forgot what it was. There was a Megadeth discography ranking, Aussie discography ranking, a Rainbow discography. Oh, and AC/DC. Yes, I'm still binging AC/DC. I know that probably disappointed some of you. You probably thought I already heard all the albums, but I haven't. I've been listening to so much music, some old, some new now. AC/DC, I just kind of went over, but I'm listening to all those albums, and so far, it's not horrible. It's not my favorite thing in the world at all. I still think that their older songs sound the exact same. But You Ain't Got a Hold on Me, or whatever it's called. I think that's what that song's called. That's my absolute favorite song by them so far. That song, if they made more songs like that, I'd probably be a bigger fan of them. But the rest, I'm not that crazy about so far. I just think they're all right. I wouldn't go out of my way to listen to them though, ever again. The only song I like by them so far is the only song I like by them so far is "You Ain't Got a Hold on Me" or whatever that song is called. I think that's what that song's called. I might be wrong about that, but that's the only song I like by them. And "Shoot to Thrill." Those two songs. That's about it. Nothing really else that ever grabbed me. But I'll keep listening. Tell you what I think, and I'll get that discography ranking out very soon. And then after that discography ranking, I want to do a redo of my Kiss discography because that thing's ancient and needs to be updated. And I also need to do an updated Pantera discography ranking, an updated Metallica discography ranking. And what else? Oh yeah, I'm gonna do a redo of my Black Sabbath discography ranking because I have changed my opinions on a few of those albums. And let me think what else I want to do. There's also some new discography rankings I want to do in the future too. I want to do a Nickelback discography ranking, which I know not everyone's gonna be on board for that, but I love Nickelback, so I'm gonna have to do that. Let me think of what else I want to do. I might do a Michael Jackson discography ranking. Trying to think of something else. Slayer, definitely a Slayer discography ranking. There's just a bunch of other bands. I could list off every single band there is, and there'll be a discography ranking for them. If you see top 10s of artists, and you see top 10s of bands and artists, and you see ranking all the songs off an album, and you just see the band name, there will be discography ranking for all those people. At some point. All those people at some point. It's going to take forever, but at some point I will have discography rankings for all of them. So thank you all for watching. I'm sorry this took so long like I previously mentioned. Thank you all for all your support. I really do appreciate all of you. Take care, stay safe, and go listen to Megadeth. You take a mortal man. Still hate that song.